Kenyans and Africa generally had hoped that this was an African-born American president, which is basically the greatest power in the world. And therefore, they thought that his coming to office would largely shift the dynamics of benefits that would come to Africa. But that has not been the case. And one of the reasons that one can plausibly say for that is that being a black American president with Kenyan origin or African origins for that matter, he was under the radar, and therefore he didn't want to be seen as if he was using his position as an American president to satisfy what you could call African or Kenyan interests. And therefore, to that extent, he kind of stayed away and didn't become so proactive. You could also see that he only came to Kenya at the very end of his tenure because of those perceptions that he didn't want to be seen.
Dr. Hussien, President Obama, though, admitted his biggest mistake was the aftermath of Gaddafi's death in Libya and the way Libya has disintegrated in the aftermath of that. How has that mistake affected Egypt and the region as a whole?
Well, actually, the President Obama speaks very well, and he was able to capture the imagination of the African people, whether it was Egypt, Kenya, Ghana, or South African people. He speaks very well to the people, but he doesn't really, his words do not materialize on the ground because he was able to fetter Egyptian hands from entering into Libya and stabilizing or re-stabilizing the situation after it had been destabilized after the death of Gaddafi. Had he allowed Egypt to step into Libya, I am sure the Egyptian forces, the Egyptian army, the Egyptian well would have been able to stabilize the situation and thereby save the world the trouble that is really being fomented in Libya.
There is a lot of talk now about a policy shift when it comes to US-Africa policy. Exactly what is that policy shift, and has that translated into action? Are we seeing that?
The other policy shift that one might look at going forward, especially with Donald Trump coming in, might be Donald Trump has been very clear that unlike Obama, who was talking as the first leader of the world, trying to unite the world, Donald Trump is saying American national interest will always come first. And therefore, the question that people are starting to ask themselves is that will the little that remained for Africa after the Cold War further dwindle? And I think that's quite a concern for Africa.